Many people have been interested in the theory that the US stock market would crash by 2050 because of research done by Finnish economist Klaus Grosby at the University of Vasa. What could be the reason behind the crash that might happen? Well, let's dive deeper to know it. Is the US equities market going to collapse eventually? Is the daring title of a recent paper by Klaus Grosby. Examining whether the US stock market can continue to develop, Grosby predicts a major collapse in the next few decades. Wall Street titans have been raising concerns about the market's impending collapse, and Grosby's analysis aligns with their voices. It is depressing to consider that there may be a major stock market crash within the next few decades. Grosby, along with other observers, highlights notable instances that have had a long-lasting effect on foreign financial systems. The markets have withstood serious storms, from the seismic shocks of the 2008 financial crisis to the ongoing pandemic and geopolitical tensions like the Russia-Ukraine war since 2022. The idea of sustainability serves as the central claim of Grosby's research. The US stock market's durability has come under scrutiny in light of the extraordinary events in the last 10 years. Grosby argues that the cumulative impact of these disruptions could be leading us to a cliff as we consider the turbulent path from the 2008 financial crisis to the present. Analyzing the economic environment via Grosby's perspective necessitates a sophisticated comprehension of the complex network of variables affecting market dynamics. The financial crisis of 2008 is seen as a turning point in history because it revealed weaknesses that led to a worldwide recession. The ensuing 10 years were characterized by unparalleled actions by central banks, including atypical monetary policies and unparalleled stimulus plans. Although these actions offered a lifeline, they also created the conditions for future dangers. The market's resiliency was further tested by the COVID-19 epidemic, resulting in an unstable roller coaster ride. Global governments enacted comprehensive efforts to contain the virus, which had an impact on investors and enterprises alike on the economy. Due to the extent of market involvement during the epidemic, experts are considering the potential long-term effects and introduction of distortions into the financial system. Geopolitical conflicts, like the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, have made things more complicated. These occurrences cause unease in the financial markets as investors consider how geopolitical conflicts may affect the stability of the world economy. According to Grosby's analysis, these geopolitical issues have a significant role in the US stock market's instability. Despite their apocalyptic nature, Grosby's predictions of an Armageddon financial catastrophe force us to have an important discussion about the structural soundness of the financial system. Given the numerous factors at play, it's imperative to recognize that forecasting the direction of financial markets is intrinsically difficult. That being said, the study encourages reflection among policymakers and the financial community. To effectively navigate the potential problems that lie ahead, market participants may find it advantageous to take a proactive stance. This entails resolving systemic vulnerabilities, promoting openness, and putting sensible risk management techniques into action. Furthermore, in order to promote a robust financial ecosystem, cooperation between academic institutions, financial institutions, and regulatory agencies becomes crucial. According to Grosby, the global economy has endured a number of pressures that have had a noticeable effect on its dynamics. He points out that these pressures have led to major inflation and supply chain disruptions, which is the problem that central bankers are currently facing. In response, the Federal Reserve of the United States raised interest rates by 450 basis points in an effort to reduce inflation. But this action, together with the rising debt levels of the United States, worries economists. Central bankers must strike a careful balance between reducing the burden of debt and halting price increases. Grosby points out that this predicament might force them to make tough decisions, which could pave the way for a catastrophic recession and a stock market meltdown. Grosby reviews earlier research to go deeper into the possible effects, including a 2001 study that expressed concerns about the direction of the US stock market. Following these events, concerns surface on whether the US stock market is headed towards the ominously predicted finite time singularity. It is implied by this concept that the current rate of expansion is unsustainable and that stock values may ultimately experience an apocalyptic collapse of unimaginable proportions. It's a sobering warning that demands serious thought and forces a reevaluation of the variables influencing the financial scene. When the stresses identified by Grosby are examined, it is clear that supply chain disruptions have had an international influence on a wide range of organizations and industries. The global economy is interdependent, so problems in one area can have a ripple effect across the entire globe, from manufacturing to retail. Consequently, this adds to the inflationary pressures that central bankers are assiduously attempting to reduce. Raising interest rates is a crucial tactic used by the Federal Reserve to combat inflation, but it has complications of its own. The cost of borrowing goes up when rates go up, which affects consumer spending habits and may even slow down the economy. Finding the ideal balance between a rate hike that is significant enough to reduce inflation and not too drastic as to impede economic growth is the difficult part. The growing national debt is a major aspect that exacerbates this puzzle and highlights the complexities of the current economic environment. The increasing levels of debt presents two threats. First, higher interest rates make it harder to service the debt. And second, dealing with the debt head-on may have unintended consequences. Economists warn that in the face of these difficulties, central bankers may be forced to choose between reducing inflation and easing the burden of debt. The decision between these two options has significant ramifications and highlights the fine line that decision-makers must walk. This scenario echoes issues that have historically occurred and raises the possibility of a severe recession and a stock market meltdown. Grosby's review of the 2001 study gives the current state of affairs a historical perspective. The scary idea of a finite time singularity implies that the U.S. stock market's current trajectory might not be long-term viable. This realization forces us to consider the adaptation and resilience required to successfully sail the unpredictable waters ahead as we struggle with the complexity of a fast-changing global economy. The international economy is presented with a complex picture due to the interconnectivity of global markets, supply chain disruptions, inflation, and growing debt. The course of the U.S. stock market and, consequently, the entire global economic landscape will be greatly influenced by the decisions taken by central bankers in the upcoming months. This is a time that demands cautious thought, wise judgment, and a shared understanding of the possible consequences that could develop in the future. Grosby went beyond simple data integration in his experiments. He acknowledged the possibility of overestimation in the crash timeframe of the model and attributed it to extreme monetary policies of previous years. Grosby speculated about the possible consequences, stating that these measures could hasten the approaching financial disaster. He drew comparisons between the historical crashes of 1929 and 1987, emphasizing the rapid declines in market capitalization that were seen during these turbulent periods. Outside of academia, Grosby's results are consistent with warning voices from Wall Street. Legendary investor Jeremy Grantham recently warned of a possible stomach-churning disaster, predicting a significant 50% wipeout from the S&P 500. Similar views were expressed by Ray Dalio, the former CEO of Bridgewater Associates, who highlighted the impending change in the financial markets towards a new global order. It's critical to recognize Grosby's unique combination of historical perspective and modern recalibrations as we navigate these complex financial waters. The seriousness of the crisis is highlighted by the warnings from seasoned financial experts who advise investors to proceed with caution. Lessons learned from the crashes of 1987 and 1929 provide direction in an ever-changing market environment, highlighting the possibility of significant and swift changes. Grosby's research presents a clear picture of a market at a turning point with its careful examination and modifications. Even though there are many predictions that the market would crash in 2052, the urgency is increased by the memories of previous crises and the opinions of experienced investors. It's an appeal for alertness, forethought, and a sophisticated comprehension of the complex dance between economic policy and market forces that shape our financial future. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed watching our content, then do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to comment your thoughts below.